We are Jana and Pavel, co-founders of FineActs. On this day, we wanted to introduce you to two of our projects. Our campaign, Cultural Solidarity, that engaged hundreds of artists to create hopeful images for Europe. And The Grades, our unique platform for socially engaged visuals. But before this, a little bit about us. So we are FineActs. We are a global nonprofit for social impact. What we do, we work in many different ways, but the core of what we do is basically amplifying human rights messages through art. We've spent the last 6 years nurturing numerous creative collaborations between activists and artists, producing dozens of creative campaigns on a vast range of social issues, and training organizations around the world to embrace art, hope, and play as tools for greater impact. In our work, we are guided by the key conclusions of science about what makes people care, namely that strong opinions change not through more and more information, but through compelling, empathy-inducing experiences like storytelling and like art. That visual language works much better than dry facts and abstract concepts. That provoking an emotional response should be done very carefully because people will shut down or not respond if one simply evokes sadness, guilt, or fear. And lastly, that in the context of general desensitization, campaigns that bring hope or inspire awe are most effective. These are the principles behind all our creative campaigns and creative challenges, including cultural solidarity, the challenge that we want to talk to you about today. So why cultural solidarity? Why did we begin this project? The COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated the danger of increasing nationalistic sentiments and crackdown on civic liberties. However, we also believe that the current crisis can be a very strong catalyst for the European idea, as it reveals the fundamental necessity for collective action. Earlier, I spoke about what makes people care and the role of hope in this. Many current narratives simply reflect the direness of the situation, like dark and depressing messages, images, and statements of what it is and what the world is now. But in this context, we are more interested in what it could be and how we can get there. We saw an urgent need for uplifting messages of unity, togetherness, and solidarity that would reinforce the feeling of belonging and the idea of Europe as a shared space. This is why we launched Culture of Solidarity Creative Challenge, supported by the European Cultural Foundation. The challenge aimed at fostering a creative space to produce emotional, compelling visuals that bring to life a common vision for a better future. So what we did is that we commissioned 27 artists, one representing each EU member state, to create new works that reinforce solidarity and deal with the aftermath of the pandemic in European societies. We also opened the call to creatives anywhere to submit relevant works from their archive, and more than 300 artists participated. We selected, out of all these, we selected 135 works that are featured and published on thegrades.co, which is our new platform for free socially engaged visuals that are made available for free non-commercial use and adaptation by activists worldwide. And Pavel will speak about this in detail in a moment. And on top of this, we also executed 10 creative placements across Europe that featured placing big posters, projection mappings, disseminating postcards in 10 different cities in the EU. Very briefly, I wanted to show you some examples out of the commissioned works. Once again, we commissioned 27 artists, one per EU member state. And each author was asked to deliver an artwork or a poster, or at their own discretion, a series of works with a central message of solidarity, hope, and togetherness. Once again, we looked for works that reinforce the feeling of belonging and the idea of Europe as a shared space. So the artists' interpretations were like wildly different, but really powerful. And they included, as you can see here, rebuilding together, or symbolic tearing down of borders and walls, or various symbols of unity and belonging. Images of friendships, bridges, like dancing our way to the top. There is this recipe for a brighter future that is basically a soup that consists of all like flags of EU member states, but decomposed. Or this visual that imagines our future thriving by sticking together as a tightly knit community. Some artists sent us one poster, which was brilliant, but others, like the Bulgarian example here, sent us a number of ideas that were inspired by our creative brief. And once again, all these works and hundreds more are made free for non-commercial use at thegrades.co. And now Pavel, who leads the Grades, will tell you a little bit more about it.
Hi, everybody. I have the truly great pleasure of introducing the Grades to you. So the Grades is it's a new platform that we built last year. So it has been alive for almost a year now. And it's really a very unique platform. And now you will see why it is unique. The Grades provides a solution to a key issue for the non-governmental sector, which is powerful, hopeful visual content is of grave importance for engaging support for our campaigns. However, often organizations and social movements lack the capacity to produce such content. High quality and impactful visuals are difficult to find, and usually they're very costly, they're not cheap. So our platform is trying to answer to this very common problem for our sector and for all activists around the world, not only in Europe. And something very important about all the content that you find at thegrades.co, this is co, not com, with an M at the end, is that everything is licensed under an open license, so you can use it freely, and moreover, you can adapt it. So you can play around with it, you can change it, you can make it adapted to your needs and to the things that you're actually trying to achieve with your social media and other types of communication. So something very interesting that happened last week, in fact, is that the Grades was honored in Fast Company's World Changing Ideas as a finalist in the category for creativity. So the Grades is one of only 4 different ideas in this category, and we're extremely proud. As I said, the Grades has been around for a couple of months, for almost a year. I think that this is a very good symbol of how important it is and how important it might be and will be for your work, which is extremely important for the world and for Europe. So I'll show you an example of what you can find on the Grades. For example, building on what Jana said and what she described in our creative challenge for Culture of Solidarity. When you go on the homepage of the grades, you can see actually the whole collection of visuals in the Culture of Solidarity project. And when you click on it, you will see the different visuals and different illustrations, the wonderful illustrations that that hundreds of illustrators created for this goal. And for example, you browse through them and you see something that you like. For example, the visual on the down on the left, which is by an Irish illustrator, Steve McCarty. And so you see this thing, you see this image, and you say to yourself, "Oh, this is great. This is exactly what I want to use for something I'm working on." So when you click on the bright red button, download files, you don't get only this image. Actually, you get a whole folder with different types of visuals that you can use in your work right now. They're ready to go for social media. You have posters that you can send to the printers. You have postcards also. And something that is very special about the grades. For almost all the hundreds of works that you can find on the grades, you get the work file. So you can adapt it, you can build on it, you can change it, you can change, for example, the text within the illustration, which is something that is very important, especially within Europe, with so many nations speaking different languages. Of course, the grades is mostly in English, and for us, it was very important to build this tool that allows us to make the things, the visuals and the images that we upload to the platform usable in our own context, in the very local context of our campaigning and our issues that we speak to. So you can get the work file, and these are some very beautiful examples from a couple of months ago of two organizations. The first one, the National Coalition in Germany. This is their annual report for 2020, and as you can see, the image that I just showed you is the cover of their annual report, and they used it in a very nice and smart way. Also, on the right, you can see another image that the designer who worked on this annual report for the International Service for Human Rights in Switzerland, based in Switzerland, he very cleverly integrated the illustration that he downloaded from the grades within this highlight section of the annual report. So I'm just giving you these two examples to show you that you can do basically whatever you want with the great and beautiful illustrations that you can find on the grades. There are just very simple terms of use of all these illustrations. It is extremely important that you credit the author of every illustration that you use to make it very easy for you to know what you need to credit. Within the downloads folder, you will find a text document, a very short document, which says, this is the name of the author, this is how you should credit them. Apart from that, you can do whatever you want for free with the illustration, but you should, again, credit the author. And if you even, for example, you can change the illustration, you can change the background, you can change what the figures within the illustrations are doing. The only thing that the license tells us to do, so tells you to do in this case, is to also make whatever derivative work you are creating also open and free for the public to use. So we're trying to build this huge community of socially engaged visuals and people who work with them that can grow and grow in the coming years. And it's something very important, lastly, is that you should only use these works non-commercially. So you cannot use them for commercial purposes. And this is something very important for the DNA of the grades and the work that we do. I'm showing you two examples, very good examples of how different organizations used some of the works and how they credited the works. Which, as you can see, it's very simple. It's not something that you should think so much about. So, as I said, the grades has been around for almost a year, and in this almost a year, less than 12 months, there have been uploaded 650 different illustrations that you get all the files and work files and different formats for social media by 400 global artists. And you will see that some of the artists are really one of the biggest in the field, very prominent with huge followings, and they decided to support different causes because they believe in them, and they gave out their creative minds for us and for all the activists and non-governmental organizations around the world to use in their campaigns. And also on the grades, you see that there are different topics that you can browse. So we have everything. We have everything from women's rights to LGBT plus rights, to climate and environment, to BLM. So please go to the grades.co and look around and use everything that you like for your campaigning. And I think this is all from us. And we're hoping that you have a great Europe Day today.
Thank you so much for being here. I just want to ask our hosts from ECF whether there are any questions that they see typed somewhere. I think there are no questions. Once again, thank you. Also, thank you to the European Cultural Foundation for making this project possible. We're eternally grateful, and it was a huge joy for us to be working on it in the past several months. And you can reach us if you have any questions, ideas. You can reach us at this email that you can see displayed on the screen, hello@fineacts.co, or just tag us on social media. Thank you once again.